Do you think MLS should compensate fans when Messi doesn't play in away games?
What about when he's not there and he's retired? Let's just keep...
Can you do that again?
Oh, boy.
Please. All right, so speaking of Lionel Messi, he will not play against Jamaican side Cavalier FC in the first leg of the round of 16 of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Tonight in Miami, our Lizzie Vecerano on ESPN.com says a source confirmed Messi did not suffer an injury, but is wanting to manage his workload in order to avoid an injury. This is Messi's second absent match after he did not travel to Houston on Sunday's MLS meeting with Dynamo. We saw that statement. Producer Beto telling me that that game is 0-0 at the moment. We don't love to speculate, but this does make us think that maybe there's something else that we're not being communicated to about Messi at the moment. Shaq, where does your mind go when you see this?
I'm a little uncertain for a couple of reasons. Messi's at an age now where he does have to manage his workload. That kind of comes with the territory. The other side to that same coin, though, is Lionel Messi, throughout the entirety of his career, has never shirked that kind of opportunity, that to show up, to go and play the game. So for him to miss now 2 games back to back, it does not align with how I think Messi sees the game. As he's still having fun, and he's going out there and playing, and he's not really worried. You know, you haven't heard the concerns about AstroTurf pitches. And a couple of weeks ago, we had every reason to not show up in Kansas. He showed up and scored.
So you think he's injured?
I feel there's more to it than, I'm a little bit tired right now. I just feel it.
Janusz?
Oh, so many things. So, obviously we don't know. If he's injured, that's fair play.
Yeah.
Why not? This is the sort of game that Inter plays at home against opposition that if Messi plays or not should make a difference, right? Let's not forget that Messi's been injured, last season a lot, and Inter Miami won a lot of games without him. And there was one moment they actually won more games without him than with him. So I don't see any problems with that. I don't see any problems for Inter fans because there's no guarantees when you buy a ticket and go to the games, right? I mean, if it was an away game, that's a little bit different, right?
But that's
if you
the
go
thing.
to Jamaica, I understand.
Right.
That. But look, and I don't want to be cynical, but I've seen this already. And look, for me, Messi now. And I'm not saying that that's what he wants to do, but Messi is in Major League Soccer to get ready to play for Argentina. Let's be honest. It happened before Copa. Pretty soon, Argentina's first place World Cup qualifying. They have Uruguay in the second and Brazil. I mean, Brazil in itself, fifth place, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you talking,
Those games are coming up.
This is 10 days away, right?
Yeah.
If there's any issues, I mean, probably no coincidence that first was Martino, now it's Mascherano, Argentinian coaches that understand what he wants to do, how much Argentina means. Look, I'm not saying that today that's an issue, but if there's any issue whatsoever with these games coming up, I think they're always going to err on the side of that. Always. And I don't even mean it as a knock, but he does. He's at a stage where he knows when he can play, but Argentina means a lot, right? And I remember that happening before Copa last year. There were some injuries. They were very, very careful, with him, and that's where we are. And I don't know if it's okay or not. I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems to be that way, and you cannot tell me if there is an issue that, what is he thinking? You're telling me about Cavalier? Or, next games are in Charlotte at home, then away Cavalier, probably won't go there. Although I wish he does, because those fans will truly miss out.
They moved the stadium for that.
So he will probably, but it's going to be very much control, and of course the result of the first game is going to tell us a lot, even if it's a short appearance. And then after that, it's Atlanta on field turf away, and then he goes to Argentina. So I want to see what happens with that. But that's how I feel about it.
If you're managing if it is about managing the workload, I think it makes more sense to play the first leg at home and miss the second leg, or be on the bench. If you have that much confidence that we're good enough without Lionel Messi to beat Cavalier, have him on the bench just in case. Don't even have to warm up before just sit on the bench. Doesn't come on. No harm done. But the fact that
even if it takes up a roster spot for that game?
I mean, there's not everybody's going to get on the park.
Right.
You're going to have quite a bench, and but 5 substitutions, they're not going to get on. So Lionel Messi is one of those. If you need him, if all of a sudden you find yourself 2 down at half time, and you need him to kind of pull something out of the fire, then you call on him. If you're 2 up, then he just stays where he is. Totally fine. And again, you go out and you win the first leg 4-0, then you have every excuse not to take him to Jamaica in 2 weeks' time or whatever it is. So it just feels like there's a little bit more behind the scenes to me. And that's just me speculating entirely.
Yeah, and it's strange because a day ago, Javier Mascherano was mentioning how he had trained with his teammates and physically he seemed fine, but it still seems like a day-to-day situation. So it's strange that it's not a full-out statement, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, when we're talking about the most important player in MLS, period, Janusz.
Yeah, it's true. But again, I mean, do they have to explain themselves? Why?
Dynamo had to explain themselves?
I don't understand why.
Because Messi wasn't there. Because it's Messi, Janusz.
No, but I don't understand why Mascherano's got to go and explain why, as I said. I mean, we have...
Because Messi. Period.
No. See, okay, we choose to look at it that way, but I'm...
Well, not we, the business is
right.
Is
but
looking at it that way.
But if you Mascherano, I don't think you have to. I mean, we see situations where, I don't know, actually Liverpool paid the price for that, but, they saw Plymouth, they rested, they didn't bring 7 or 8 players. They paid the price for that. They were out of the, it was FA Cup, right? Right? I mean, nobody's explaining themselves, and there's some big players. Salah didn't go. I know he's not Messi, but to Liverpool, Salah is as important as Messi is to anyone. We make this a big issue, especially in this country, because Leo Messi is not playing, with all due respect, against Cavalier from Jamaica at home, right? I mean, I don't... In general, I don't see a problem with that because they can and should beat them with or without Messi. So if, because we don't know, there is some little bit of an issue that they see with him, right? And they choose not to play him, explain for what? Okay, he's not playing. And that explanation may come. It may be truthful. It may be one of those that managers say, hey, it's not, it's this, nobody really knows. It'll be a little bit of a statement, but he doesn't owe us anything. We just feel that he does, but I looked at that today and I said, well, that's normal. I wouldn't play Messi against Cavalier today at home. I just wouldn't.
Right.
Even if he was 200% ready, I probably wouldn't. Different, maybe I would have had him on the bench, as you said. Sometimes you have to do these little things that you demanded from us. I know you have to push us a little bit. So, this is not a dig.
But no. And it's the Lionel Messi effect specifically in MLS. Because you mentioned Mo Salah, he's the biggest player for the club and one of the biggest players in Premier League history, period. But we're talking about the biggest player in MLS. All the clubs had to come together, and even the MLS at the end of the day to be able to bring it. It's the Messi effect, Janusz. I'm not saying it's right, by the way. I'm not saying it's right. That's not what I'm demanding. But at the end of the day, it affects the business.
Yeah, I mean, this is CONCACAF. It's a little bit different in that respect. And, the sort of a game, it's 2-legged. And, when you have these games, you sometimes take risks, right? Yeah. Okay, in this game, I'm going to risk this player. Second leg, if need be, I'm going to bring him in. So I see this a little bit different than just a regular MLS game. But if I had to guess, how many people do you think around the country know that Inter is playing Cavalier tonight?
That's a good question.
That's
a good question.
How many people do you think that even know?
No idea.
I mean, with Major League Soccer, probably a little bit more. There will be more talk about that. But tonight, I don't think many know the game's taking place.
Right. The thing is, it's back-to-back games, and at the end, that could be a concern for injury, which could be a concern in the long term, not only for Inter Miami, but for those 2 matches that you mentioned that Argentina has coming up, the 21st and the 25th, and World Cup qualifiers.